Okay, and we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? I hope everybody is well today. Thursday afternoon, 7:20 p.m. Spain mainland time, and we're going to have a look at some of the news that has caught my attention today. Some big news today regarding the Spain-Algeria relationship, which is broken, let's be honest, and Spain is trying hard to mend that broken relationship. But we'll have a look at that in a minute. Now, plenty of activity already in the chat section. Let's go through and see what's happening there. We've got one here from Matei. Says that his girlfriend and he are going to live in Alicante next month. Doesn't speak Spanish at all. What jobs should he look into considering his situation? Cheers. So if anybody's in the Alicante area and can recommend a job that Matei could do, please let him know in the chat section. We'll get that one out of the way first. Babs coming in from Wales. Hello, Babs. Roland coming in from Minnesota. We've got Tay coming in from Pacifica, California. Also a super chat there from Tay. Thank you very much. Super sticker from Tay. $10. Thank you very much for that. More than appreciated. Thank you very much. We've got David coming in from Ireland. We've got Steve coming in from don't know where. And David's asking a question. Let's put this one on the screen. Hey Stu, in your opinion, which is a safe and good place for a family to live in Spain, closer to the beach? Thank you. Well, Dave, I don't know, to be honest, but there's plenty of people watching that are in these coastal areas here in Spain and could give you some advice on that for you and your family. I, as you know, live in the center of Spain in Madrid, so I'm not close to the beach, but I would say any city, basically, close to the coast, Valencia, Malaga, could be a good place for you and your family to set up. Now, Amanda's coming in. Hello, Amanda, regular viewer. Matt J. was coming in from Michigan. Excited to share the stream with you all. Thanks for hosting as always, Stuart. That's great to see. Chris coming in from Alora. Hot weather down there. Hot weather everywhere, I think, Chris, at the moment here in Spain. Fiona coming in from Mallorca. Franchi's moving to Valencia next month. Obviously looking forward to that. Carol coming in from Austria. And David coming in saying hello and hello to everybody. John's asking the question, any update on the British Blue Badge in Spain? Thank you, John. Yeah, I sent you an email today, John. My advice is to call the council where you are going to have your holiday and find out what their rules and regulations are, because I believe that some councils or some town halls are looking at this British Blue Badge differently than others. I don't think it's the same countrywide, so probably better to ask the specific town hall where you are going to spend your holidays, which I think Nerja from your email is the place. Dirk coming in from Villajoyosa. Thank you very much, Dirk, another regular viewer, and Grant coming in from Seiro, Asturias. Now, we'll have a look at the first piece of news, and as I said, regarding the Spain-Algeria relationship. Algeria has ordered its banks to freeze foreign trade with Spain as of Thursday. In a further step in the escalation against the government of Pedro Sanchez, Algeria has ordered its banks to freeze operations related to trade with Spain. According to various Algerian media, the Association of Banks and Financial Institutions has issued a directive to the country's financial institutions to freeze direct debits on all foreign trade transactions involving products to and from Spain as of Thursday today, the 9th of June. So there we go. Algeria finally deciding that enough is enough with its relationship with Spain. We know that Spain chose to take the side of Morocco in the Saharan conflict, and that's where Pedro Sanchez has put all of his attention to recently, mending broken relations with Morocco and Algeria, Morocco's neighbor and enemy there in the north of Africa. Not happy and breaking trade relations or freezing those trade relations as we see there. And what does this mean for Algerian gas here in Spain? Because we saw recently that Spain had the idea to become the gas provider to the rest of Europe, relying on that Algerian gas. Is this going to affect that move? And Spain is desperately at the moment trying to mend those relations with Algeria, and the European Union also trying to support Spain with this because we're dependent on that Algerian gas. So again, when you depend on something that you don't have, this is what happens basically. If you don't have gas and you need gas, this is what happens. If you don't have oil and you depend on oil, this is what happens. If you don't have anything that you depend on, you are always going to be in this situation with people controlling the deck. Now we're up to 24 likes. We've got 119 people watching. So if you don't mind, hit that like button below. We'll try to get those likes up to around the 50 mark if we can. What else we got going here? Bag of Bones coming in from Los Angeles, California. Kevin O'Malley says he may have found his piece of land in Marina Alta to buy, and he's waiting to find out exactly what can be built on it. Important to find out what can be built on it, Kevin, because you don't want to have a piece of land that you can't build a home on. That many people have fallen into that trap over the years, buying land that is not able to be built on. All right, we've got Aniken coming in. Hello from Orihuela, back in Alicante, Aniken. Good to see. Steve coming in from Ireland. Diablo's in the chat room. Hello, Diablo. Mick coming in from Moreira, another regular viewer. Jose Ochoa, ¿qué tal, Stu? Muy bien, Jose. Muy bien. ¿Tú? Pat coming in from Galicia. She has passed her driver's test. There we go. Congratulations, Pat. We saw a couple of weeks ago, I think, you mentioned that you were doing your driver's test here in Spain. You've passed it, and you're on the road with your letter L of shame. That has to be on for the next year, I think, Pat. So congratulations. Well done passing that driving test. Let us know if you did the test in Spanish or English. Let us know, Pat, please. Makish coming in. Hey, Stu. Hey, Makish. How's life? What else we got going on? Steve has a recommendation for that chat that we saw before, the question that we saw before from, I can't remember who it was from, David, I think. Soto Grande is good, and Estepona, both safe, close to the shops and restaurants, lovely harbour, safe as you will find on the coast in Spain. So there we go, a couple of recommendations. So good to see that the community is working here, giving people advice. Diablo's put out something here about his new passport. Was told my new British passport could take 12 weeks to arrive with the DHL fee to ship it to Durham and everything. A couple of euros shy of 200 euros. Yeah, expensive, Diablo, to get a passport nowadays. Australian passports also very, very expensive. Not like here in Spain where you can get a passport for around 20 euros, I think. I think that's what a Spanish passport costs to renew. In Australia, they charge around 300 Australian dollars to get your hands on that passport. So, expensive to get a passport. Now, second piece of news. Let's have a look. Yolanda Diaz, the Labour Minister here in Spain, will start her tour in Madrid on the 8th of July to set up a new political platform. Yolanda Diaz will kick off her tour of Spain on the 8th of July in Madrid to set up a new political platform to contest the next general elections. She will do so with a first meeting in the capital in the middle of the Pride celebrations, and the events will be spread over 6 months, according to sources familiar with the initiative. The announcement, which comes in the midst of the Andalusian campaign, gives concrete form to plans that the leader of Unidas Podemos in the executive, or the government, had been postponing for months. She first announced it in the summer of last year, and which will define to a large extent the future of the political space to the left of the PSOE. So Yolanda Diaz parting company with Podemos, going her own way, setting up her new platform, which I think is called Sumar, I think, and she's going to start that on the 8th of July, doing a tour around Spain, trying to catch the attention of potential voters, because her popularity level is very high. I think she's the most valued leader here in Spain, but of course, She's in the government at the moment, came through the Izquierda Unida Podemos coalition and the coalition with the socialist government, and she's decided to break away and start her own platform. It's been done before in Spain. There was a lady back in the day called Rosa Diaz, I think, who started a platform in the same way, or a political party. Can't remember what the name of it was now, but it didn't last long. It slowly died, and we can see that other political parties at the moment here in Spain are dying a slow death. So it'll be interesting to see what Yolanda Diaz's political platform or political party looks like, and whether they can have an impact on the national scene here in Spain. It will be interesting to see. Now, we've got Nederlandso 86. Hey, Stu, travelling to Spain on the 8th of July from Dubai. Do I need a PCR? I think you still do need some type of proof of vaccination or a negative PCR or antigen test coming from outside the European Union, but check the specific rules on the UAE, because they could be different, but I don't think so. The European Union, travelling to Spain from the European Union, now you do not need anything at all, but travelling from outside the European Union, you still do need to show some health forms and have some health checks, I believe. But just go to the website, the Spanish embassy website in the UAE, and you'll find the details there. All right, good. Great to be back in Barcelona, says Dave. We'll use up his post-Brexit 90-day allowance here. 90 days, that's right. The famous 19180. Del Bosque is in Valencia. What have we got here? After Lisbon, doing Seville next. 40 plus in Seville tomorrow. Any beaches out that way to stay alive? From San Francisco, USA, half the temperature of Seville tomorrow. Del Bosque, that part of the world, obviously inland. You've got Valencia, obviously on the coast. You've got Lisbon on the coast, but I don't know whether you can swim in Lisbon. I think you have to find one of the beaches around Lisbon to swim, maybe Ereseda or somewhere like that. And Seville, no beaches in Seville. They've only got a river, and I wouldn't recommend swimming in the Guadalquivir River because it looks a bit dirty. But the good news is that about 40 minutes from Seville, I think, around that, you can be in Cádiz, and Cádiz has very good beaches, or maybe you can go to Huelva as well to cool off a little bit, to get away from that Seville heat. But it can be a bit of a nightmare this time of year in places like Seville, Córdoba, Jaén, places there in Andalusia get very, very hot. But the coast is not far away from Seville, so keep that in mind. All right, what else we got going on here? We've got, is it a good time to move to southern Spain with a young family, considering the state of the economy? The economy is always the same. It never changes. It goes up, it goes down. We go into a crisis period for a long time. Youth unemployment is traditionally high. Normal unemployment is traditionally high, but there are opportunities here. The figures sometimes don't represent the true economy here in Spain. I've been here for 20 plus years. I've worked all that time teaching English, of course, and doing a few other things. So there are opportunities. Whether in your case here as a truck driver and a care worker, I don't know, because those are harder things to get into, although there is a shortage at the moment of truck drivers, so you could be lucky there. And depending on where you're coming from as well, if you're coming from the European Union, you shouldn't have a problem. But if you're coming from outside the European Union, could be a little bit more difficult. But so let us know where you're coming from. All right, good. Makish says, Ola from Isla de London, the island of London. Okay, don't know where that is. Becky coming in from Benalmádena. So hot here today. Yeah, I think it was going to be 37 in Malaga, and I've been in Malaga in peak summer months, and 30 degrees in Malaga is hot. The humidity there is a killer, and obviously that's what's going on there. At the moment in Malaga, Benalmádena, just to the east of Malaga City. Nice part of the world as well, but you've got the beach, which can give you some relief there, Becky. All right, third piece of news. Spain suffers from the largest loss of purchasing power in the OECD. The global rise in prices is taking its toll on Spanish citizens who are losing purchasing power. In Europe, only the Greeks are doing it tougher. Real wages in Spain have fallen about 5% in the last 12 months. To find a bigger fall, one has to go as far as Greece, where wages in real terms have suffered the biggest devaluation with a 7% drop. This is what can be deduced from the latest economic outlook data presented yesterday by the OECD in Paris. So there we go. The second largest loss of purchasing power in the OECD. And again, Spanish wages obviously being losing power with the high inflation that we have at the moment. So for about 5% loss in real wages there as we see. So again, doing it tough here in Spain. And Spain's always in the same basket as Greece, Portugal, Italy, always in the same basket as those countries, as we know. Similar economies with a lot of structural problems, and they take a long time to digest these economic crises. All right, good. Now, what's this one here? Kevin's asking a question here. How come bien seems to be more prominent than bueno as the operational Spanish word for good? Well, there are different words with different meanings, okay? So, for example, you would say, how are you? I'm well. Muy bien, gracias. And then you would say if something is good. So, for example, is that a good ice cream? Es un buen helado, okay? Or un bueno helado, un helado bueno. So they're different. One is well and one is good, I think, Kevin, to answer that question. But again, if anybody has a better answer to Kevin's question there, please let him know in the chat section. All right, good. Now, Chris has put a question here. Let's have a look. I'm not sure of the politics behind it, but wasn't it a choice between gas from Algeria or immigrants from Morocco? I reckon gas from Algeria should be the priority. Yeah, well, basically that was what we were led to believe, Chris. Spain had a diplomatic rift with Morocco starting last year, or maybe in 2020. Not sure exactly when it started, but it all came about because Spain gave hospital attention to the leader of an independence group called the Polisario Front. He came to Spain to be treated for COVID 2020, 2021, not sure exactly when it was. And that triggered Morocco because that he's an enemy of the Moroccan state. And they opened the borders in Ceuta or Melilla, one of those places there in the north of Africa, and thousands of people flooded into Spain, causing an immigrant crisis as well. And the diplomatic rift between those two countries was quite severe, and the borders were shut and all of those things. And a lot of people in Morocco depend on Ceuta and Melilla for their day-to-day. They have family members there as well. So that was seen as the priority. And I think Pedro Sanchez thought that he could balance both of those countries. He could keep Algeria happy and try to keep Morocco happy at the same time. But obviously, it doesn't work like that. But again, we go back to the thing that I said before, that when you depend on another country for something as important as gas, you're always going to be open to this type of situation, as we can see with the rest of Europe and Russian gas. So it is the situation that we have at the moment. Pat's answered the question. She did everything in Spanish, but the driving examiner and my teacher were mostly talking in Gallego. I don't think either examiner speaks English anyway. Probably the case, Pat, but I think you do have the choice to do the written part of the exam in English. They do give you that choice of various languages. English is one of those, but apparently the translation is not very good. So well done for doing it in Spanish. And of course, when you do the driving test, you're not going to find an instructor who speaks English, or you have trouble finding one in Galicia, I imagine. And of course, the official test with the DGT, you won't find somebody there who speaks English. So well done, Pat, for getting that done in Spanish. All right, good. What else we got going? Roland says that Elvira is nice, east of Marbella, 10 minutes to downtown Marbella. So another coastal area there on offer for a family coming to live in Spain. There we go. From David it was. He's saying thanks for the information. Now, we're up to 93 likes, 200 people watching roughly, 197. So let's see if we can get it over the 100 mark. Like button just down below. Hit it. It's a good metric that helps the channel. So if you can, hit that like button and let's try and get it over the 100 mark. Fourth piece of news. Spain is one of Europe's biggest markets for prostitution, but for how much longer? Spain has introduced a new draft law aimed at cracking down on prostitution. The proposed law will punish those who financially exploit prostitutes, pay for their services, or knowingly provide premises for the practice of prostitution. Under the law, citizens will be fined if they pay for prostitutes, while pimps and procurers face prison terms of between 3 and 6 years. Clients could also face jail sentences if the prostitute is a minor. But the bill would not make prostitution illegal in Spain, one of the world's leading markets for the practice. Médicos del Mundo estimates that there are more than 350,000 women in prostitution in Spain, and 80% of them are foreigners without legal papers. Online adverts for prostitutes are also a common sight in Spain. So there we go. We saw this piece of news yesterday that the government has the intention to make prostitution, I think it's a bit difficult to understand. Some news says that they're going to make it illegal. Other people are saying they're going to try and regulate it. But as we can see here, it's a huge industry in this country. And anybody who's driven on Spanish highways, especially out of the big cities, will notice these brothels on the side of the road. They're not discreet. They have neon lights flashing constantly. And you often see quite a lot of cars, trucks parked outside those premises. And obviously it is a very lucrative business in this country for some people. And the government, as I said, not sure what they're trying to do, because I did read that they were going to make it illegal. But in this text here, it says that the bill would not make prostitution illegal in Spain. But so there we go. Not clear exactly what they're trying to do with this sector. But as I said, prostitution, a huge business in this country, and more so when you go to the popular tourist resorts. For example, Benidorm, Magaluf, I imagine, also has a prostitution problem, and other coastal areas as well. And there's an area here in Madrid which is called Colonia Marconi, which is, I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. And even when I first came to Spain, there were prostitutes in the center of Madrid on the side of the street, doing their thing. And in Australia, where I come from, prostitution exists, of course, but it seems to be a lot more discreet than it is here. It seems to be out in the open, even though it is illegal. But in Australia, as I said, you don't drive along the highway and see brothels with neon lights on the side of the road, or at least I haven't seen them. Whereas here, it is a common sight to see those. And as I said, especially around some of the industrial areas as well, you will see a lot of prostitution going on. So we'll see what the government ends up doing regarding prostitution. Now, we're up to 125 likes. Thank you very much for that. 213 people watching. We'll go back into the chat section here. We'll see what's happening. A bit of chat going on about British passports. Mugger's just joined the chat. Hello, Mugger. Brian in Mansfield is hoping to go to the Costa del Sol for a winter holiday, but concerned about all these stories of chaos at airports in the UK and Spain. Yeah, it's what the press comes up with, Brian. I'm sure the situation is not as bad as the press leads us to believe, but plenty of people have travelled. I mean, I know people that have hopped on planes recently and haven't had a problem. Some people have had a bit of a delay, and there are, of course, nightmare stories. But I imagine that with the amount of people that travel between the UK and Spain, or Spain and other European countries, these things are bound to happen. So I wouldn't let it put you off having a holiday in Spain. Now, what else is going on here? We've got Jose is asking a question. Is there an equivalent of the Better Business Bureau in Spain to file complaints about a business issue. I'm sure there is, Jose, I'm sure there is, but I'm not familiar with the name of that organization, but I'm sure there is some type of ombudsman who takes complaints about businesses. So those bodies do exist, of course. What else we got going on here? Hi, Stuart. Is there any news if Johnny will be returning to Make More Living in Spain podcast? Oh, sorry, John will be returning to Make More Living in Spain podcast. Just finished them. They were great. I did those a few years ago with John. John lives locally. COVID got in the way, so we haven't really been in contact. I've seen him around a little bit here because, as I said, we live in the same neighborhood. He lives at the other side of the city where I live now. So I did see John maybe 6 weeks ago. I was having a drink at a bar and he was buying some food next door. So I could put that to him if he's interested in having another chat, doing some more podcasts. I'll see what he says. What else we got going on? Alan says UK fuel £2 a litre. €2 a litre here as well, Alan, at the moment. Debbie's coming in from Los Angeles again. Hello, Debbie. Bag of bones. Yeah, exactly right. Few people from Los Angeles in the chat section here. Exactly right. Good to see. All right, now we'll go into the first comment from yesterday's video. Let's have a look. From Guderian, the bureaucracy kills business in Spain. Bureaucracy kills business in Spain. Absolutely it does. Bureaucracy is a business killer. And you can see on a survey called the Ease of Doing Business, Spain is way down the list. The easiest countries in the world to do business, countries like New Zealand, I think, very easy. I think even Singapore's an easy country to do business in, but Spain very far down the list when it comes to ease of doing business, and there's a reason for it, and it's called bureaucracy. Bureaucracy here is an absolute nightmare from a business point of view, to get permits, to get things open, to get inspectors to come out to check things. All of those things make it very, very difficult. The fees that you have to pay, the registries that you have to go to. Whereas in a place like New Zealand, in 24 hours, you can get a business set up and registered. Here, it can take weeks, and that's the norm. Businesses are not easy to set up, and even though after the last financial crisis back in 2008, the government said that they were going to change all that, it didn't happen. It didn't happen, and there must be a reason for it. I don't know what it is, but there must be a reason why they don't want to make starting businesses a more agile process. I don't know what it is. Let us know in the chat section if you have a theory on this, because I don't, unfortunately. Alan says, can you run a car on sangria? Yes, you can run a car on sangria, Alan, but you have to put a little bit of gin in the sangria in order to get it to work. You just have wine and casera, it won't work. So make sure you put some gin in your sangria to get that car to work. All right, good. Now, what else we got going on? The bueno bien question. As Stuart said, bueno equals good. If I'm a good person, una persona buena. If I'm kind, responsible, caring. If I'm well, estoy bien. If I'm not sick, not tired, and I'm not happy. No estoy bien. Estoy muy mal. No estoy muy bien. Efectivamente, Matt J. was. Thanks for pointing that out. Let's have a Spanish chat if you want. Put some more questions in there about Spanish. We'll try to answer them here. Malcolm's coming in from Mojaca today. I thought you were normally in Malaga. So have you changed locations, Malcolm, or am I thinking of somebody else? Let me know. What else we got going on? Michael coming in here. Hey, Stuart, watched your video about Madrid Airport and how flights are being cancelled. That's outrageous. Exactly what I said, Michael. Outrageous to have that many flights cancelled, but there's two sides to this story. The Interior Ministry and the airport operator Aena said that they have not received one complaint, yet Iberia, the airline operator, says that they have received numerous complaints. So the truth is obviously somewhere in the middle. I don't know whether it's the Iberian extreme or the government or the Aena extreme, but I would probably put my my money on the Iberian side of the argument. And because passport controls can be a bit of a nightmare, especially in that Terminal 4, the Barajas Terminal 4, which I think, which I think is mentioned here in a comment. Let's have a look. PB operations. The border police, are especially good at going slow. The passengers are there to serve them and should be grateful when their passport is tossed back at them and allowed on their way. Yeah, I've got that impression traveling around the world over the years, PB operations, that the border police can be a bit of a pain. I don't want to say anything too negative in case one of them recognises me the next time I go through border control in a place like Australia. But there is a feeling that they are superior when you go through with your passport and you're standing there waiting for them to stamp it to make sure there's nothing wrong with your passports. I understand that they have a serious job to do, but when you go to Australia, I don't know if anybody's gone through an Australian airport, but the border control there, I mean, you've never come across a more bunch of serious people in your life. Unbelievable. And even when I've gone to the UK a couple of times, the questions that you get asked: have you got enough money? What are you doing here? How long are you going to be here for? All of these questions, and sometimes they don't like the answers that you give, and they give you problems when you're trying to go through these things. And the police here in Spain, normally you don't get any conversation out of them at all. They just look at your passport, look you up and down, stamp it, and you're on your way. They're not the friendliest people going around either, unfortunately. So maybe they need to improve the customer service at passport control. Don't know. All right, now what's going on here? Ivan, Stu, people in Spain love to complain. It's a national sport. National sport everywhere, Ivan. People love to complain. But in the end, depression and suicide rates are low. Even with its issues, Spain is a fantastic place to live. I'm not sure what the depression and suicide rates are, to be honest, Ivan. People have told me that they're not as honest with these things as some other places are. A lot of deaths maybe are not reported as suicides. That's what I have heard. Don't know whether it's true or not. But no country's perfect. No country's perfect. Everybody loves to complain. Spain is a good country for some things, but if you're trying to do certain things, it can be very, very frustrating, especially, as we said before, if you're trying to do business, open a business, it can be frustrating. Some of the barriers that are put in place that really shouldn't be there, in my opinion, Ivan. And also when it comes to work conditions and things like that, there are some things that I think need to be changed in order to make it a little bit more flexible, to get in line with what happens in other countries around the world, to make the labour markets a little bit more flexible, I would say, could help. But then again, nobody's interested, in my opinion. All right, good. What else is going on here? By the way, travelling tomorrow to Barcelona. Okay, Ivan, you're back in Spain tomorrow. Hope you enjoy your trip. What else we got going on? Miguel's in the comment section here. Chat going on around prostitutes. Bagabone says they've cleaned up Hollywood and Venice Beach in recent years. Or the internet has. There we go. What else we got going on? Porta Banús, full of ladies of the night, down there in Malaga. So plenty of activity going on here around the prostitution debate that Spain is currently having. All right, now we're up to the 33-minute mark, so I'm not going to go on for much longer. We're up to 149 likes. Let's see if we can get it over 150, please. So smash that like button if you can. We'll have a look at one more comment here, and it's this one here, the social media scientist. I'm travelling from Spain to the UK in August. For some reason, thank God, flights from Bilbao this year are much cheaper than from the dreaded T4 Iberia terminal in Madrid. This news has made me even more grateful considering the amount of grief this airline has caused me in the past. So probably referring to Iberia, giving him grief in the past, and being able to travel from Spain to the UK from Bilbao. Much cheaper. Maybe you're going with a low-cost operator, and that's the reason why it's cheaper. Social media scientist, MBE, member of the British Empire. maybe that's the reason that Ryanair or an EasyJet operate from Bilbao to London or somewhere like that, whereas if you go through Terminal 4 in Madrid, it's Iberia, British Airways, the more traditional airlines, which can be, as we know, more expensive. All right, now I'm going to start to wrap the video up. 35 minutes almost we have been going for. It's been a pleasure as always today, guys. Thank you very much for the lively chat section. Sorry I couldn't get through every chat comment there. I'm sure there are many. Somebody there, Becky's talking about a massive fire in Estepona. It's in a place called Sierra Bermejo, which is behind Estepona. There was a fire there last year, I believe, and there's another one there this year. And people were removed from their homes last night because there was danger in a place called Benavis. I think that the fire was going to come into people's homes. So if you're in that part of the world, let us know in the comment section after the video what the situation is like. Again, unfortunately, those sierras down there in Andalusia affected by bushfires. Hopefully it hasn't been lit deliberately. As we know, in the past, a lot of these fires are deliberately lit. Hopefully this one is not that. I don't want to say hopefully it was a natural occurrence, but nobody wants a fire. But hopefully it hasn't been deliberately lit by an idiot arsonist. So anyway, I'll wrap the video up. Thanks for your input. Thanks for watching. 243 people, 176 likes, 1 dislike. Fantastic. Thanks a lot. See you next time. On Sunday will be the next live stream. Hope to see you there around 7:30, I think, on Sunday. Have a good day. Hasta luego. Bye.